The greatest battle you will ever fight is not with competitors, not with society, not with anyone out there. It is with your own mind. Most of us think the world is what holds us back, but in truth, the world simply reflects what's happening inside. If your mind is chaotic, life feels chaotic. If your mind is at peace, even the harshest circumstances feel manageable. The first step in rising and conquering is not about building empires or chasing money. It is about mastering your own inner world. The mind is a restless machine. It constantly creates thoughts, doubts, fears, and desires. Left unchecked, it becomes your jailer, pulling you in 1,000 directions at once. One moment it is worrying about the past, another moment it is craving some imagined future. You become a prisoner to its endless chatter, and in that prison, no amount of external success will ever feel like freedom. To truly conquer your life, you must first conquer this machine, because until you do, it will run you instead of you running it. Start with awareness. Most people don't even notice the noise in their heads. They live on autopilot, reacting to every impulse, every fear, every desire. Awareness is the first form of freedom. When you notice your mind drifting into worry or anger, you are no longer just the emotion. You become the observer of it. That simple shift turns you from a slave into a master. The difference between I am angry and I am noticing anger in me is the difference between bondage and liberation. But awareness alone is not enough. You must also cultivate discipline. Just as the body can be trained through exercise, the mind can be trained through stillness. Meditation is one of the simplest and most powerful practices for this. Sit in silence, watch your thoughts, and resist the urge to engage with every single one. Over time, you will realize your thoughts are just passing clouds, not commands you must obey. When the storm in your head loses its power over you, you gain the strength to act with clarity. A conquered mind is a calm mind, and a calm mind is a sharp mind. Imagine walking into a battlefield where everyone is panicked, rushing, and confused, but you remain still, alert, and unshaken. Who do you think has the advantage? The one who reacts wildly, or the one who acts deliberately? Life works the same way. Those who master their inner world can move with precision while everyone else is running blind. That stillness gives you the ability to see opportunities others miss, to make decisions without fear clouding them, and to persist when others quit. The irony is that most of us try to conquer the external world first, chasing money, status, or recognition, only to find ourselves emptier and more restless than before. We pile achievements on top of an unsettled mind, hoping it will quiet down, but it never does. It's like pouring water into a cracked vessel. It just leaks out. Only when you fix the cracks inside can you truly hold the blessings life gives you. Without inner mastery, success feels hollow. With inner mastery, even small victories feel abundant. Conquering the mind does not mean eliminating thoughts or desires. It means no longer being owned by them. A strong mind is not thoughtless. It is free. Free to choose which thoughts to act on and which to let go. Free to remain centered when circumstances turn against you. Free to create without the constant burden of doubt. Imagine living in such a way that nothing outside of you can shake your inner balance. That is what it means to rise and conquer within. And here lies the paradox. Once you conquer your mind, the external world becomes easier to navigate. You no longer waste energy in battles that don't matter. You stop chasing status games or trying to impress people who aren't even thinking about you. You see life clearly, and clarity itself is power. With a calm mind, your energy goes into building instead of worrying, into creating instead of competing, into living instead of endlessly striving. The greatest victories are invisible. They are not the trophies on your shelf or the titles before your name. They are the silent moments where you remain unshaken in the face of fear, where you choose wisdom over impulse, where you decide not to be controlled by anger or envy. When you can master these invisible victories, the visible ones, the wealth, the success, the recognition, will follow naturally, not because you chased them, but because you became the kind of person who attracts them effortlessly. So before you try to conquer the world, pause, look within, win the inner war first, because if you can master the battlefield of your own mind, then no external challenge can defeat you. That is the foundation of true strength, and from that strength, every other victory will rise. For most of human history, power came from force. The strongest warrior, the biggest army, the one who could command others through fear, those were the people who rose to the top. But times have changed. In today's world, raw force is no longer the ultimate currency, knowledge is. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you'll realize that true leverage doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from creating, from thinking, from applying your mind in ways that scale far beyond what your hands can do. If you look closely at the people who seem unstoppable in our era, you'll see they are not the ones who fought their way up through violence or domination. They are the builders, the thinkers, the innovators. A single person with the right idea can now move the world in ways that entire armies could not in the past. One line of code can reach millions. One invention can change industries. One insight, shared at the right time, can transform lives. This is the new age of leverage, and it belongs to those who choose knowledge over force. The problem is that most of us are still conditioned to think in terms of struggle. We believe success comes from pushing harder, grinding longer, and exerting more effort than the next person. But this is a trap. If your life strategy is to push harder, you will always be limited by your own energy and time. There are only so many hours you can work, so many battles you can fight, so much force you can exert before you burn out. Knowledge, on the other hand, has no such limits. Knowledge compounds. What you learn once can serve you 100 times. What you build once can be used by 1,000,000 people. What you teach once can echo across generations. That is the power of leverage. Leverage means getting more output for the same amount of input. In the old world, this meant using people, armies, workers, servants. But that kind of leverage is fragile because people can resist, leave, or turn against you. The new form of leverage comes from knowledge, capital, and technology. You can write code that works for you while you sleep. You can create content that teaches others long after you're gone. You can design systems that replicate your effort infinitely. When you lean on knowledge instead of force, you create tools that multiply your actions instead of just repeating them. But here's the important part. Knowledge is only leverage if it's applied. Reading books, collecting facts, or arguing online does nothing unless you put what you know into practice. Wisdom is knowledge put to use. The world doesn't reward you for what you know. It rewards you for what you do with what you know. So the real challenge is not just acquiring knowledge, but transforming it into something tangible, something useful, something that others can benefit from. Think about it. A person with muscles can lift weights. A person with money can hire workers, but a person with knowledge can design a machine that lifts weights forever without ever getting tired. That's the exponential advantage. The more you invest in learning, the more doors you open that brute strength could never unlock. The more you focus on building systems, the less you have to rely on force. Knowledge gives you freedom because it makes you independent from sheer labor, and yet most people underestimate it. They chase short-term wins through force, arguing louder, working longer, competing harder, while those who quietly build knowledge are setting themselves up for unstoppable momentum. Knowledge scales in ways force never can. It's why a scientist working alone in a lab can change the fate of humanity more than 1,000 soldiers on the battlefield. It's why a coder in a small apartment can build a tool that billions use every day. It's why one insight, if shared, can ripple across the world and outlive the person who spoke it. The beauty of knowledge is that no one can take it from you. Money can be lost, possessions can be stolen, status can fade, but what you've learned, what you've mastered, stays with you forever. That's why investing in your own learning is the highest return decision you can make. Every book, every experience, every lesson compounds quietly in the background until one day it becomes the foundation of something extraordinary. So stop trying to push your way through life. Stop thinking you can dominate your way to victory. That path is exhausting, and it always ends the same. Someone stronger comes along, and the cycle begins again. Instead, rise by building, rise by learning, rise by creating tools, ideas, and systems that outlast you. That is how you conquer without force. That is how you win without fighting. In the end, force might get you compliance, but knowledge gets you transformation. Force creates resistance, but knowledge creates alignment. Force fades the moment you stop applying it, but knowledge keeps working long after you've stepped away. If you truly want to rise and conquer, choose the path of knowledge. Because in the modern world, the most powerful person is not the one who shouts the loudest or fights the hardest. It's the one who thinks the clearest, builds the smartest, and shares the most generously. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a decade. The truth is, life is not a sprint, it is a long game. Those who rise and conquer are not the ones who burn themselves out chasing quick wins, but the ones who understand the power of compounding. Playing long-term games with yourself is about building patiently, consistently, and deliberately in a way that your future self will thank you for. It's about resisting the temptation of shortcuts and instead laying down bricks that form a foundation too strong to be shaken. The game you're playing is not against the world, it's against time and your own impatience. Every day you are making choices. Some give you instant pleasure but leave you empty later. Others cost you effort now but reward you endlessly down the road. The question is, which choices do you repeat? Because what you repeat becomes who you are. And in the long run, you don't rise because of one lucky break or one big leap. You rise because of thousands of small, smart decisions compounded over years. Think of health. One workout won't change your body, one healthy meal won't transform your energy, but 10 years of consistent effort will. Think of wealth. One good investment won't make you rich, one new skill won't set you free. But a decade of saving, building, and learning will. The same is true for character. One honest choice won't make you trustworthy. One act of courage won't define you, but a lifetime of integrity and persistence will. That's why the long game is always the real game, because what compounds over time cannot be faked, and it cannot be stolen. The danger is that most people play short-term games. They chase status, applause, and instant recognition. They want the quick hit, the easy win, the fast result, but short-term games rarely build anything lasting. They are like fireworks, loud, bright, impressive for a moment, and then gone. Long-term games, on the other hand, are like planting trees. You may not see much in the beginning, but years later you're sitting in the shade, enjoying fruits that grow without effort, all because of seeds you planted long ago. The most important long-term game is the one you play with yourself. Others will come and go, but you are with yourself for life. If you can learn to consistently invest in your own growth, mentally, physically, emotionally, you'll carry those dividends forever. Read daily. Exercise regularly, practice stillness, choose honesty, learn skills that compound in value. Each of these actions seems small in the moment, but their effects multiply in ways that are invisible at first and undeniable later. The secret is to remove the illusion of overnight success. Nothing great is built overnight. Even those who seem like they blew up suddenly had years of invisible preparation before the world noticed them. Every so-called lucky break is just the world catching up to years of consistent effort. You cannot cheat time, but you can partner with it. Time is the ultimate multiplier. If you play long-term games, it becomes your greatest ally. If you play short-term games, it becomes your worst enemy. Patience is not just waiting, it is active persistence. It is doing the work even when the results aren't immediate. It is trusting the process even when progress feels slow. And it is resisting the temptation to quit when things get hard. The long game rewards those who can endure boredom, frustration, and setbacks without losing sight of their vision. When you treat every day as practice, every failure as feedback, and every effort as a seed, then you are already winning. The real beauty of long-term games is that they make you anti-fragile. Short-term gains can vanish overnight. But long-term investments in yourself make you resilient to change. No market crash, no lost job, no betrayal can take away your discipline, your knowledge, or your character. These are assets that grow stronger with use and cannot be destroyed from outside. In a world full of uncertainty, that kind of foundation is priceless. So don't ask, how can I win today? Ask, how can I keep winning for decades? Don't look for the quick reward. Look for the habits and systems that will keep rewarding you long after others have quit. Every day is a choice to either play the short game of instant gratification or the long game of compounding. And every day you choose the long game, you're building a version of yourself that will rise above challenges and conquer them, not because you rushed, but because you endured. Play long-term games with yourself, and you won't just rise for a moment. You'll keep rising higher and higher for the rest of your life. That is the power of patience, persistence, and compounding. That is how you conquer without force and without fear. And that is how you build a life that outlasts every obstacle.